They told everyone I was holding my daughters back. Said I was too old-fashioned, too stubborn to understand what young people wanted. They whispered at neighborhood gatherings about how I needed to let go and trust the next generation. But the truth doesn't need to be loud. It just waits for the right time to rise, like perfectly proofed dough. If you believe in the power of staying true to your vision, in the strength that comes from weathering storms and rebuilding from scratch, subscribe to the channel, because sometimes the sweetest victory comes after the most bitter defeat. My name is Teresa Alvarez, and I'm 58 years old. I live above the bakery I rebuilt from the ashes of my daughter's dreams, where I wake up every morning at 4 a.m. to the sound of my grandmother's recipes calling me back to work. I make bread with my own hands, using techniques passed down through 3 generations, and my daughters still think I don't understand modern business, and my family still thinks I was the problem. I was supposed to be the retiring mother, the grateful woman who would step aside gracefully when her successful daughters offered to take over the family business. The old-fashioned baker who would smile and nod while the next generation brought my life's work into the 21st century. At least until I wasn't. 23 years ago, I hung a simple sign above a small corner shop in Houston, Teresa's Panaderia. Those first years were harder than anything I'd ever done. I was at the bakery by 3 a.m. every morning, mixing dough and firing up the ovens before the sun rose. My daughters, Maria and Sophia, grew up doing homework at the counter between cooling racks and flour-dusted surfaces. But slowly, the bakery became more than a business. It became a gathering place. Mrs. Chen from the dry cleaner next door came, every morning for café de olla and a concha. Mr. Johnson, the school principal, ordered dozens of cookies for school events. Elderly neighbors shared newspapers and stories over fresh bolillos at my 3 small tables. "You're not just feeding people," said Father Martinez from the church down the street. "You're nourishing the neighborhood. This place has soul." That soul came from knowing that Mrs. Rodriguez always bought extra cookies when her grandchildren visited, so I'd have them ready without her asking. It came from staying open late for high school events, from treating customers like extended family, from my grandmother's recipes that carried the memory of 3 generations of women who understood that bread was about love, not just profit. But as my daughters became teenagers, then young adults, I started noticing changes in how they saw the family business. They'd roll their eyes when customers spoke to them in Spanish. They'd complain about the outdated decorations and boring menu. "Mom, nobody our age eats conchas," Sophia said during her senior year. "All my friends go to Starbucks or those cute Instagram cafes downtown. This place feels so old." Maria, studying business at community college, was more diplomatic but equally critical. "I love what you've built here, Mom. But if you want the bakery to survive, you need to modernize. Update the branding, expand the menu, appeal to younger customers." As the girls entered their 20s, the pressure intensified. They'd bring me articles about successful bakery makeovers, show me social media accounts of trendy cafes, explain market research about millennial spending habits. "We're not trying to criticize what you've done," Sophia explained during one of our family meetings. "We just see so much potential you're not tapping into." "Look at this place," Maria added, gesturing around the bakery's warm interior. "The decorations are from the 1990s. The menu hasn't changed in 15 years. Where are the young families? Where are the professionals who work downtown?" They painted a picture of a reimagined bakery that would attract food bloggers and social media influencers. They talked about partnerships with local coffee roasters, collaborations with Instagram-famous chefs, marketing campaigns that would put Teresa's on the map citywide. The conversation that changed everything happened on a warm Thursday evening, in June. We were sitting in the bakery after hours, the day's unsold pastries arranged on the counter like sweet soldiers waiting for judgment. "We love you, Mom, but maybe it's time to let us take over," Maria said. "You've built something amazing, but we can modernize it, bring in new customers, make it popular again." Sophia nodded eagerly, her eyes bright with excitement. "We want to help you, really. Just step back and trust us. We've studied this stuff in school. We know what works in today's market. The doubt crept in slowly. Maybe I was being stubborn. Maybe I was holding the bakery back from its full potential. The pressure wasn't just from my daughters. Miguel supported anything that might give us more financial security. My sister Carmen kept asking why I was being stubborn about accepting help from my educated daughters. Even some regular customers made comments about how nice it would be to see the bakery updated and refreshed. Looking at a particularly difficult month's revenue, listening to my daughter's passionate arguments, I felt something I'd never experienced: doubt in my own judgment. Maybe they were right. Maybe this was the natural evolution of a family business. With a heavy heart but genuine hope for the future, I agreed to step back and let them take over. The transition happened faster than I'd expected. Within weeks, Maria and Sophia had taken control of social media accounts, started reaching out to food bloggers, and scheduled meetings with contractors about renovation plans. The first major change was the staff. Carmen and Rosa, who'd worked with me for over a decade, were let go during what Maria called operational restructuring. "They're sweet women," Maria explained, "but they don't understand social media, can't make the specialty drinks we're adding, and don't fit the aesthetic we're going for." Carmen had been my right hand and knew every regular customer's order. Rosa was an artist decorating cakes. They weren't just employees, they were part of the bakery's family. The new employees were young and Instagram savvy, taking beautiful photos of every latte, posting constantly to social media. But they couldn't tell you the difference between a concha and a cochinito, didn't know which customers had dietary restrictions, and treated every interaction like a photo opportunity. Next came the menu changes. My traditional Mexican pastries were relegated to a small corner, replaced by avocado toast, matcha lattes, and elaborate coffee drinks with names I couldn't pronounce. "We're not getting rid of your recipes," Maria assured me. "We're just adding options that appeal to a broader demographic." But the conchas were now labeled as authentic Mexican sweetbread, like museum pieces rather than daily staples. The renovations began in October. The warm yellow walls were painted stark white. The mismatched tables where customers had lingered over conversations were replaced with sleek, uncomfortable seating designed for photos rather than human comfort. My grandmother's molcachette was moved to storage to make room for a neon sign reading, "Good Vibes Only." The family photos and local artwork were replaced with minimalist decor that looked like every other trendy cafe in the city. The bakery looked magazine perfect, but completely devoid of personality. It could have been anywhere, belonged to anyone. Initially, the strategy seemed to work. The Instagram account gained thousands of followers. Food bloggers featured our avocado toast and rainbow lattes. Lines formed on weekend mornings, filled with young people photographing their elaborate drinks. "See?" Maria said triumphantly. "This is what success looks like," but something felt wrong. The new customers didn't know my name, didn't ask about my family, and weren't interested in anything beyond getting the perfect shot. They'd order, spend 10 minutes photographing from different angles, take a few sips, and leave. "Where are Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez?" I asked Sophia one Saturday. "They come every Saturday for conchas, 15-year customers." Sophia shrugged. "Maybe they found somewhere else. We can't cater to every old customer if we want to grow." That's when I realized what we'd lost. The Rodriguezes hadn't just found somewhere else. They'd been priced out and pushed out. Mrs. Chen stopped coming when her morning routine was replaced by lines of teenagers taking selfies. Mr. Johnson quit ordering for school events when our artisanal pricing became prohibitive. Behind the scenes, finances were becoming dire. Renovation costs were enormous. New equipment required monthly payments. Instagram-ready ingredients cost significantly more. Social media campaigns ate hundreds monthly. Despite increased foot traffic, profit margins were shrinking. Elaborate drinks took longer to make. Focus on visual appeal meant throwing away perfectly good food that didn't photograph well. "It's an investment in our brand," Maria insisted when I raised concerns. "Building the following takes time and money. But 3 months in, the excitement was fading. Influencers had moved to the next trendy spot. The elaborate drinks often tasted mediocre. Uncomfortable seating discouraged the conversations that had made us a community hub. Most damaging, we'd lost our identity. The bakery that had been unmistakably Teresa's, warm, welcoming, rooted in tradition, had become a generic Instagram cafe. Maria and Sophia fought constantly now, each blaming the other for execution failures. I watched my daughters tear each other apart over a business that had once brought our family together. The end came faster than expected. By February, 6 months after renovation, the numbers weren't working. The social media buzz had died. Expensive ingredients weren't generating enough revenue. The new staff lacked skills to run an efficient bakery. When lease renewal arrived with significant rent increase, the landlord had seen our apparent social media success. Our actual financial situation made it impossible. "We need to close," Maria announced during a tearful family meeting in March. "We owe money to suppliers, the bank, contractors. There's no way to recover." The bakery that had taken 20 years to build closed after 8 months under my daughter's management. There was no fanfare, no goodbye party, no recognition of the community relationships that had ended in financial ruin. "I'm sorry, Mom," Maria said as we stood in the empty shell. "We really thought we could make it work." Sophia was crying openly. "We ruined everything, didn't we? All those years you spent building this place, and we destroyed it in less than a year." Looking around the stripped, soulless space, I saw something my daughters couldn't yet understand: opportunity. 2 months later, I made a decision that surprised everyone. I was going to reopen the bakery. Not their version, but Teresa's panaderia, exactly as it had been. A neighborhood gathering place where people came for authentic food, genuine conversation, and comfort that couldn't be captured in photographs. The landlord, struggling to rent the space, was thrilled to work with me again. "I always liked the way your place felt," he said. "My kids used to beg me to stop there for cookies. It was a real neighborhood spot." My first call was to Carmen and Rosa. "Teresa?" Carmen's voice was warm with surprise. "I heard the bakery closed. I'm so sorry." "It did close," I told her. "But I'm reopening it. Would you consider coming back?" Carmen cried when she said yes. Rosa cried when Carmen called her. I cried, realizing that the people who'd understood the bakery's heart had been waiting for the chance to bring it back. Rebuilding took 3 months of hard work and careful budgeting. I stripped away every trace of Instagram cafe aesthetic, painting walls back to original warm yellow, finding mismatched tables that invited lingering conversations. My grandmother's molcajete returned to its place behind the counter. Family photos reclaimed the walls. The neon sign disappeared, replaced by the simple, hand-painted sign that had welcomed customers for 20 years. Most importantly, I rebuilt relationships with the community we'd lost. I walked through the neighborhood, visiting former customers, explaining what happened and asking for a second chance. "I made a mistake," I told Mrs. Rodriguez. "I let other people convince me to change something that was working. I'm sorry we lost our way." She hugged me like a long-lost friend. "We missed you, Teresa. The neighborhood hasn't been the same." The grand reopening happened on a sunny Tuesday morning in September, exactly 1 year after the renovation that changed everything. No marketing campaign, no influencer partnerships, just a simple sign: Teresa's Panaderia, back home where we belong. Mrs. Chen was our first customer at 7 a.m. for her usual order. "It feels like coming home," she said. By noon, the bakery buzzed with comfortable energy, people chatting over coffee, children pressing faces against the display case, neighbors catching up while sharing pastries. Maria and Sophia came that afternoon, looking uncertain and ashamed. "It looks exactly like it used to," Sophia said quietly. "That was the point," I replied. "Are you angry with us?" Maria asked. "I'm not angry. I told them honestly. But I am disappointed. Not in your failure, but in how you dismissed everything I'd built as old-fashioned and irrelevant. That conversation was painful but necessary. My daughters had to understand their grand plans had real consequences. Not just financial losses, but destruction of relationships and community trust that had taken decades to build. 3 months. After reopening, the bakery was thriving through word-of-mouth recommendations and customer loyalty. The validation wasn't about proving my daughters wrong. It was about proving that authenticity and community connection are business strategies that never go out of style. 6 months later, Maria came in one quiet afternoon, not as former co-owner but as customer. She ordered a concha and coffee, then sat for over an hour watching the neighborhood life flow around her. "I understand now," she said finally. "What you built wasn't just a business. It was a community center that happened to sell bread." "Yes," I said simply. "And we destroyed that trying to turn it into something else. You tried to fix something that wasn't broken." That conversation marked the beginning of slow rebuilding between us. Not business partnership, but family understanding. Maria and Sophia gradually accepted that my vision had been right. The community and authenticity were more valuable than social media followers and trendy aesthetics. Today, 2 years after reopening, Teresa's Panaderia is exactly what it should be, a neighborhood institution serving authentic food with genuine love. I still wake at 4 a.m. Carmen and Rosa are still by my side. The recipes are still my grandmother's, perfected through decades of practice and love. The sweetest vindication came last month when a young entrepreneur approached me about franchising the concept. She'd heard our story through organic word of mouth about a neighborhood bakery that had survived trend chasing and emerged stronger. "I want to recreate what you have here," she said. I smiled and handed her a warm concha. "You can't recreate this," I told her gently. "But you can create something similar by understanding your own community, perfecting your own recipes, and caring more about feeding people's souls than filling your Instagram feed." She looked confused. This wasn't the business advice she'd expected. "The secret isn't an aesthetic or marketing strategy," I continued. "It's showing up every day, treating customers like family, and never forgetting that food is about love, not just profit." Where are you watching from today? I'd love to know what part of the world you're in and whether this story reminds you of businesses in your community that stayed true to their values. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If this story resonated with you, if you believe in staying true to your vision even when everyone tells you to change, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's so much more ahead, and I'd be honored to share it with you. Thank you, truly, for being here. Until next time, remember that your authentic vision has value, your community connections matter, and sometimes the sweetest success comes from having the courage to go back to your roots, especially when everyone else is chasing the next big thing.